Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we are taking a look at a brand new shadow Pokemon in the world of Pokemon Go. As I'm sure you guys saw with the Luminous Legends Y event, Niantic released a bunch of new shadow Pokemon, and after seeing the list, I knew I had to try out Shadow Hariyama. Hariyama has access to a really solid moveset, counter is the fast move, and close combat, which is an absolutely devastating move endgame, plus it has heavy slam, which is a nice coverage move. I ran through a couple teams, it did take me a while to get the hang of it, but oh my goodness, Shadow Hariyama is an incredible closer. So without further ado, let's hop into these battles and take a look at Shadow Hariyama in the Great League. In match number 1 here, picking up a slightly positive lead here, Skarmory into Altaria, and as you'll notice, I am running Skarmory with 2 fighters in the back. So I have Medicham on the safe swap to hopefully bait out their best fighter counter, and then that will leave Shadow Hariyama free to close endgame. We're going to trade Sky Attacks, and then I am going to safe swap into the Medicham, because if they do have a Charmer, I do want to preserve health on Skarmory to take it out. And they're staying in, so this tells me that Altaria is probably their best fighting counter, so if I can get rid of this Altaria, then Hariyama should be in a really good position to close endgame. They shield, so of course we're going to shield. The nice thing is we do outpace them, and from this range, Ice Punch is definitely going to KO. So I'm going to make them make a decision, and they do decide to commit the second shield. So at this point, I'm fully content with committing the second shield here, getting rid of the Altaria, and relying on my Shadow Hariyama to sweep endgame. And they bring out a Registeel, so it makes a lot of sense why they didn't want to switch out. If Registeel is their best answer to a fighter, then Shadow Hariyama is going to have a party in back. They throw right away, so they're going to throw the Flash Cannon, and we're in a really good spot for Shadow Hariyama to come in. Look at the counter damage. I go for the close combat. I really don't want to get hit by a Flash Cannon. That is going to be enough to take out the Registeel. And they're probably going to bring back in the Altaria, but we could just counter down. That's resisted damage. Countering down a flying type, they have a Scrafty in the back, and they no longer have a Scrafty in the back. Shadow Hariyama 1v3s with no shields. Oh my goodness. Hopping into the next game here, Shadow Hypno on the lead. This is a slightly negative lead for us, as basically all Hypnos in the Great League are running Thunder Punch, which makes this a bad matchup for the Skarmory. They're going to be able to get to 2 punches before we get to 1. I'm banking on this being their best fighting type counter, so I actually am willing to lose the lead, counter down with Medicham, and then rely on Hariyama to close endgame. Medicham comes in. They throw right here. This should just be a Thunder Punch, so I can safely tank it. Yep, just a Thunder Punch. That's totally fine. We're able to counter down, and they have an Azumarill. So this is going to be a little bit tricky. Unfortunately, Azumarill is also a pretty solid fighting counter. So this is going to be a little difficult. I throw in the middle of their 6th bubble, so they aren't at a play rough just yet. We're going to go for the Psychic. They farm up 1 extra bubble, and this should be either the play rough or they could bait with an Ice Beam. They bait with an Ice Beam, and I aggressively swap into Shadow Hariyama, and we're just going to try and get ahead on energy. We get an extra counter through, which is huge, and we basically just have to start shielding. They do go for the Ice Beam. And what's in the back? Oh, it's a Scrafty. Oh, Shadow Hariyama. All right, it's time. Big close combat takes them out. They're going to try and bubble us down, but they're not going to be able to. We get to the back-to-back close combats here, and we are just going to absolutely devastate this poor Azumarill. So as you guys can see, a trend. If you're able to get rid of their best fighting type counter, and if possible, if you're able to give Shadow Hariyama a shield advantage, it is incredibly devastating endgame. Picking up a terrible lead here in Talonflame. We're going to save swap into Medicham, and they bring out a Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn is not a particularly good counter to Medicham, so I'm wondering if their entire backline is weak to fighting. If so, then Shadow Hariyama should be in a pretty good spot to close endgame here. We're going to go for 2 Ice Punches, and I actually don't want to win switch here, so if they commit a shield, I'm fine with just taking shield advantage, because as we've learned, Shadow Hariyama loves shield advantage. Power Whip, that's totally fine, and we're going to be able to come in with Skarmory, farm down, and get a little bit of energy here, which is nice, because the Talonflame cannot one-shot us with a Flame Charge since it's not boosted yet, so we can safely tank this, go for the Brave Bird, and do either massive damage or get a shield. So either way, we're in a really, really good spot. We go for the Brave Bird, we get the shield. And now Shadow Hariyama has a 2-0 shield advantage. As you can see, these counters really add up, even on a flying type. And they have a Vigoroth in the back. So we are in a phenomenal spot here. We're just going to be able to build up to the 2 close combats. First one, we'll take out the Vigoroth. You might go, Home Slice, but it's a flying type in back. Shadow Hariyama doesn't care about typings. I don't care that it's a flying type. Get banished. Shadow Hariyama. Let's go. All right. Oh, and we have a Spice Lord in game number 4. I'm like, what the heck do I do against this Electivire? So I save swap into my Medicham. I can survive a Wild Charge. It hurts, but I can survive it. And we'll see what they have in the back. And they have a Swanna. So this man is spicing all over the place. His spice is out of control. He shields up the Psychic, which is unfortunate, and farms down. But if you notice, what does Shadow Hariyama have? Shield advantage. And what does Shadow Hariyama really like? Shield advantage. We're going to be able to tank an Ice Beam here. That's totally fine. I'm going to over farm by 2 and throw the Sky Attack to take it out just because I don't want to have to commit a shield. Shield advantage is way too good on Shadow Hariyama. We're going to instantly switch out the moment they come in with their Electivire. They're going to be going straight for the Wild Charge and switching out, and we get an extra counter through as they throw, which is really helpful. What do they have in the back? It is a Shadow Kanto Ninetales, so a very cool pick. But since we have an energy lead and since we have our shield advantage, we're going to be able to get 2 back-to-back close combats. First one will take the shield. Second one is going to be doing way more than enough damage to take them out. So even though Kanto Ninetales is incredibly spammy, we are able to outpace it thanks to the energy lead. They bring back in the Electivire, and we're just going to be able to counter down. We still have our Skarmory left alive in the back, and we take the win. So again, even with a lost lead and a lost save swap, just give Shadow Hariyama shield advantage. Amazing lead. They bring out a Galarian Stunfisk. And this is looking like the Venusaur Double Steel team. The last 2 teams that I've built were specifically built to bully this team, so I'm very excited to see it here. They go for the Earthquake. I can safely survive it here. I lost count, so I decided to throw the Ice Punch just so I don't have to commit a shield, because unfortunately I had lost count there, so I wasn't sure if he was at an Earthquake. Venusaur comes in. I'm going to threaten the Psychic to force them to throw. I don't want them to farm down here. They're going to throw, which is great. I'm going to come in with the Skarmory. They come in with the Bastiodon, and Shadow Hariyama forces the Rage Quit. Let's go. All right. Amazing. All right. A regular Stunfisk. That's terrible. And we're going to go in with Medicham, and we're able to bait out a Mandibuzz. So this is a very interesting counter swap because Medicham actually does fairly well in this matchup. We're going to let the first move through, and they're actually running Shadow Ball, so a very cool moveset there. But if they choose not to shield this Ice Punch, then I can commit 1 shield and flip Switch Advantage, and that sounds great to me. I really like Switch Advantage in this situation. If I can line up the Hariyama with the Stunfisk, I'm a happy guy. What can I say? And we're fully able to farm down, which is absolutely massive. All depends what they do have in the back. They have a Meganium in the back, so Switch Advantage is absolutely massive here. We're going to be able to start landing these Ice Punches and hopefully start getting some shields. Ideally, they should probably not shield this, but they do shield it, which is very nice for me. And I'm going to be able to align this with my Skarmory. And now we bring in the Shadow Hariyama. Unfortunately, the Stunfisk has an energy lead, so I decide that my Wincon is actually calling it here. I call it. We actually live a little bit, so we get some nice counter damage in. And we're going to rely on our full health Skarmory to close this game because, unfortunately, Shadow Hariyama did get absolutely vaporized, but it did its job. It got enough counter damage off on the Galarian Stunfisk. So, rest in peace to Shadow Hariyama. Unfortunately, he got absolutely blasted by an Earthquake, but we appreciate you. Thank you for taking that Earthquake for us. We're going to be able to take it out with the Sky Attack here, and Meganium is going to be doing absolutely nothing here. They're going to bait, so we're just not going to shield. Because, yeah, no, we're just not going to shield there. And then my opponent just stops attacking because they're like, why won't this guy shield? Please shield. And I'm like, no, I refuse to shield. So we're able to take the win there. All right. Hopping into the next match here. Still with the Skarmory team, picking up a nice lead here in Medicham. And they bring out a Shadow Aerodactyl, and at this point, I'm fully panicking. I have no idea what to go into. I have two amazing responses to this, and I'm just panicking. So I throw a move, then switch into Medicham. I probably should have gone into the Hariyama, but I was just full panicking. I had not seen one of these in GBL in a long time, and I was like, what do I do? I don't know what I'm doing. But we're able to farm down, which is really nice. Medicham comes in, and we're going to start unloading these Psychics. And Psychic is going to be doing a nice chunk of damage there. Able to get to a second Psychic, and this will probably be getting a shield, I would imagine. Oh, they actually let it through, and they have a Talonflame in the back. So they are putting it all on Talonflame, which now makes sense, because Medicham doesn't have a lot of play against Skarmory, whereas Talonflame, of course, has a lot of play. Flame Charge comes through, and we are in a little bit of a tough spot here, but we're going to come in with the Shadow Hariyama. As you can see, the counters are doing a nice amount of damage there. Flame Charge, we survive it. We're able to get to a close combat, which should be able to get that last shield, which is super nice. We're taken out, but we can come in with the Skarmory here. We can shield up. We get an Air Slash through, which is nice, and then we're going to be able to Air Slash down, and from there, the Medicham is in range where one Air Slash takes it out. So able to get the win there. Let's go. All right, hopping into the next match here. And as you can see, I did also try a team with a Bastiodon lead, so a Bastiodon double fighter, but I was having Medicham issues, so that's why I ended up switching to the Skarmory. Picking up a nice lead here in the Alolan Marowak. Bone Club coming through, and we're going to respond with a Stone Edge, which will almost assuredly get a shield. It does get the shield, which is nice, and we can still let one move through and shield one, and we're going to be able to leave with a loaded charge move, which is very, very nice. Bone Club takes us low, but not low enough. We get the Smackdown through so we can shield it, and we're going to be able to take Switch and have a loaded move. Since we have two fighters in back, whatever comes in, I'm probably switching out. It isn't a Azumarill. We safe swap into our Toxicroak, and they stay in. So whatever's in back is probably weak to Toxicroak. This should just be an Ice Beam, which we can survive. And we're going to go straight for the Sludge Bomb. Unfortunately, I do let a free bubble through there, which is definitely not ideal. We land the Sludge Bomb, which is super nice. So I'm going to build up to the Sludge Bomb, and at this point, a Mud Bomb should KO, and then it all depends what they have in the back. We're able to take them out, and they have a Meganium in the back they're able to farm down. Okay, so we now have a strategy. We're going to come in with our Bastiodon, we're going to throw the Flamethrower to get the shield, and then we're going to have a shield advantage for Hariyama, get to a close combat, and we're going to be able to take out the Meganium. So we're in a good spot here. We're able to sneak a counter through, which is absolutely huge, and then we're going to be able to outpace it to the close combat. Counter and close combat is a very nice combination. Close combat coming through. Hello, Meganium. Goodbye, Meganium. Shadow Hariyama closing strong. And this battle right here is probably my favorite battle with Shadow Hariyama. Bastiodon into Altaria, and he quits. Oh my goodness. Oh man, that poor guy. All right, and as you can see, I also tried a variant where they had a Bastiodon and of course, the Bastiodon and Shadow Hariyama core, but with a Sableye pivot instead of an ABB line. We're able to land the Stone Edge, which is very nice. They're going to be countering with the Power Whip, of course, because that's neutral, as opposed to the Resistant Body Slam. That's totally fine. And we can even tank another one here. We're totally okay with that. And we're going to be able to comfortably win the Zero Shield here. Fantastic. And if they decide not to shield, which they do not, yep, we comfortably win the Zeros. And they come in with an Azumarill, and we're going to safe swap into our Sableye. We are going to shield, of course, because Play Rough would hurt quite a bit. And they bring out a Mandibuzz, so they were ABA weak to the Bastiodon, so it's a good thing we were able to bait out the Mandibuzz. We're just going to let this go. Foul play, we can survive that. That's totally fine. We're going to be going for the return here. This is going to be doing a big amount of damage if they don't shield it, which they do. Our switch clock's coming up. We come back in with the Bastiodon. And since they had switched and they switched a significant amount of time after us, they're still switch locked in here. So I try and go for the kill. Their switch clock comes up. They're able to sack back onto the Azu. Very nice play there. Able to do some nice damage, which is fantastic. We're going to come in with the Sableye to hopefully force them to throw, and they throw. This is perfect. We've forced them to waste some energy, and now it's Shadow Hariyama time. Our win con here is to fully farm down the Azu. I know it's a fairy type, but we're just going to counter that bad boy down. We are one off the move. Mandibuzz has an aerial ace. Can Shadow Hariyama survive the aerial ace? We can survive it, not by much, but we can. We're able to get to the close combat here. That's going to get the shield and a second close combat. So even with an Azu endgame, Shadow Hariyama just able to completely counter down and take the win. So all in all, I had a ton of fun running Shadow Hariyama. It is very glassy, but oh my goodness, it hits like an absolute truck. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And as always, a special thank you to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. Thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.